Country Diggers here. Today we're going to do the House of Crawford History Part 2. This time we're concentrating on the castles, the blazons, shields, and mottos. And this will probably be a Part 2. And I'm doing this for me, so if y'all don't want to watch it, that's okay with me, because I know not everybody's interested in my family history, but I'm doing it for me to have a record of it. So if you want to watch it, fine. If you don't, fine. But anyway, this will probably be a part 2, so see you about it. Alright, first is our surname origin. It's the House of Crawford is an ancient family from southern Scotland, whose history is closely intertwined with that of Scotland itself. Following the genealogy advanced by the 18th century Scottish historian George Crawford, spelled C-R-A-W-F-U-R-D. Mine is spelled C-R-A-W-F-O-R-D. Okay, Crawfords descend from Thor Longus, Thor the Tall, which we believe that all of the Crawfords are descended from him. The Anglo-Danish chief associated most closely with the Merse, a marshy area west of Berwick and north of the River Tweed. While William of Normandy punished the independent principality of Northumbria before 1070 AD, and its Anglo-Saxon sympathy, Thor sought refuge just north of the River Tweed. King Edgar granted Thor the lands of Ednam, where he built a church and founded a community, which was attached to the Abbey of Coldingham. Thor was later known in documents as the overlord of the extensive barony of Crawford, from which his descendants took the surname. The barony was located around the upper River Clyde in South Lanarkshire and included numerous parishes in the area, as well as a castle of which ruins remain. Now, we learned all this in part 1 of the House of Crawford about Thor Longus. Here's the ethnic landscape. Since DNA analysis point to various ethnic origins, it is necessary to familiarize oneself with the known ethnic combinations to the locality of southern Scotland and its environs. The British Isles were settled through a number of migrations since the last ice age, about 20,000 years ago. The first known settlers came over from Europe on a land bridge some 9,000 years ago, and are known today as the Picts, Caledonians, and Britons. They were followed by the Celts, who came after the Picts and Caledonians and Britons. The Romans, with a brief presence in between, and the Anglos and Saxons and Jutes. And then the Vikings came in a series of waves beginning in the latter part of the 9th century. After 1066 AD, the Normans provided the last major ethnic contribution before the advent of surnames. Okay, now that was just a little introduction history, and now we're going to the blazons and castles. Okay. After the demise of the senior proto-branch, Philius, F-I-L-I-U-S, Hugo, with the death of John in 1248, the junior proto branch, the Reginalds, carried the surname. John's son-in-law, David Lindsay, assumed control of Castle Crawford. From what I can tell, we were a very incestuous family, okay? We intermarried with all the Crawfords. Even my mom and daddy. They're fourth cousins, I believe. Fourth cousins. But anyway, the Reginald divided the two surviving branches of the family, Crawford John and Dal McGregin. Now, the Dal McGregin branch is named after Gregin Crawford, who saved King David's life in a hunting incident. And, well, that was in the first part too. As early as 1127, with the award of lands in Nithsdale to Gregin. In 1196 AD, the senior line of Crawford John Parish transferred to Loudon Castle, becoming the sheriffs of Ayrshire, and later arguments the estate with Crosby, apparently after the Battle of Larges. The junior cadet remaining at Crawford John transferred to Kilburny as a result of a land exchange with James Hamilton of Fainart in 1535. Now, what we have is the chief branch of the Crawfords, which is, excuse me, Loudon and Crawford John. And the junior cadets is the lower branch of the Crawfords. Okay. Now, I don't know exactly where I fit in to that, the higher branch or the lower branch. I know that two brothers came to America and divided the branch when they came to America too. So I don't know exactly which one I belong to, but I want to take a DNA test, but I don't want it to be used. I'm kind of cautious on that because I don't want it to be used for something else. But, you know how they do. I mean, they can do anything they want to do with your DNA now. But anyway, okay. The senior Ockanames cadet separated from the Crosby cadet with the award of Ockanames by Robert the Bruce to Reginald in 1320. The Crosby cadet reunited with the Ockanames cadet in 1606 with the marriage of heiress Jean of Crosby with Patrick of Ockanames. The senior Ockanames Crosby line reunited with the senior Curse Dumsry line through the marriage of heiress Jane of Ockanames with Patrick of Dumsroy in about 1700. A junior Ockanames line claims the 1695 entail does not pass the chiefship and claims the chiefship rightly lies under the Newfield Castle. Okay. The senior male Kilburny line ended in the late 1600s, but the maternal descendancy assumed the Crawford surname over the Lindsay surname, continuing the surname legacy for several further generations. Excuse me. Excuse me. But anyway, how we lost our estates in these days, mostly, was through the female line because they had daughters. And some of the men, I understand, some of the men who married the daughters took the name Crawford to keep it in the family. So that's another kind of mixed up thing. But anyway, okay. The Crawford land mail line was also ended in the late 1700s, but the subsequent marital descendancy shares the Crawford surname with the Howson surname and holds the castle to this day. Okay. Then we got, like the Auchennames line, it is assumed that the currently undocumented descent lines of the other cadets should be accounted for the hundreds of thousands of surname bearers alive today around the world. Okay. Now we're going into the castles. Okay. Crawford of that elk. Barony. The original barony was located in South Lanarkshire and included the parishes of Crawford and Crawford John. It was the largest and most influential barony in Scotland until its division in 1248. Upon the death of John Crawford, known as Lord of Knightly Purpose, his son-in-law David Lindsay held the Crawford parish, while a cousin, another John Crawford, held Crawford John parish. George Crawford wrote that in 1710. Okay, what's fascinating about all this is that these names, John, David, George, there's Edward, and all this. They're names in my family today. I have an Uncle David, an Uncle John, an Uncle William, which we call Billy. My grandpa was named George Edward Crawford. I have an Uncle George who was named after him. So I'm Jamie, and we have a James in here, and my Uncle James is named that. And it's just kind of strange. My name, my mama named me. Actually, let me tell you this funny story for a minute. When they found out that they were going to have me. They didn't know if I was going to be a boy or a girl. And my mom says she liked the name Jamie. But they were in conflict with that because my grandma and my Uncle James thought that they were naming me after him and calling me Jamie, the female version of Jamie. And at the time, they didn't know I was going to be male or female. But my mom said, no, we're not. That's not the reason we're naming her Jamie. I just like the name. But anyway, they put names in a hat. And they were going to pick a name, and whatever name came out of that was going to be my name. And Jamie was in there. But my uncle, who was a jokester at that time, put in the name Huckleberry Finn. And they drew that name first. So my nickname has been Huckleberry Finn. My grandmother called me Huckleberry, is what my grandma called me. But the second name they drew was Jamie. So my mama got her wish, naming me Jamie. But anyway, it's just a side funny story to me. But anyway, the side of the castle is Lanarkshire, The town of Crawford is about 30 miles south, directly between Glasgow and Edinburgh. Okay, the castle is located about 5 miles north of Crawford on minor roads east of A74, just north of the River Clyde. Now, my dad's name was Clyde. My grandpa and grandma named him Clyde for the Clyde River, where the Crawfords were, the area where the Crawfords were from. They named him Clyde. It's just kind of, it's amazing how the past comes alive in the future too. But anyway, okay. Just south of Castle Crawford Farm, there's the River Clyde just south of Castle Crawford Farm. Little remains but a few walls on an artificial mound, formerly surrounded by water. The site was initially occupied by Crawfords in the early 12th century. Its structure was augmented by the Lindsays after 1248. It was captured by William Wallace from the English in 1297. In 1488, it passed to the Douglas Earls of Angus. Fortified in 1528, it was restored after the death of James V. Greatly altered in the 17th century, it was abandoned by the 18th. This is what it looks like today. I hope y'all can see that, but it's just ruins now. But that's what it looks like today. Okay. Now, Thorlongus, an Anglo-Saxon knight, is considered the progenitor of the Crawfords. His descendants established themselves in the barony, adopting the name of their surname. Thor's grandson, Gladys de Crawford, divided the barony between his sons Hugh and Reginald, to whom respectively went the barony and Crawford John parish. Hugh's grandson, Johannes, or John, was the last lord of the barony of Crawford prior to his death, and it was divided between the Douglases and the Lindsays through the marriages of his daughters. Reginald's portion remained in Crawford hands to become known as Crawford John. Now, these are the arms of Crawford. Let's see. Okay. These are the arms right here of Crawford. And it's note of clarification. Okay, this shield is postulated to have been identical to Templar Knight blazons. The difference in this shield from the Templar cross are due to design difficulties, not to any inherent differences between this hypothetical Crawford shield and the Knight Templars one. Let's see. Nevertheless, it is conceivable that one or more early Crawfords were Templar Knights, and that might have led to its consideration as a Crawford blazon. Okay. Now, the Cedar branch, the Crawford John branch, the branch seat was originally located in Crawford John parish of the old barony of Crawford. In 1535, Malcolm Crawford, representing the junior cadet, then established at Crawford John, negotiated a trade of Crawford John parish with James Hamilton of Finet for the lands of Kilburnie. Malcolm moved his operations to Kilburnie to consolidate his administration of all his holdings. The site of the castle is Boghouse Castle, Lanarkshire. It's located 5 miles west of Crawford, just south of Crawford John, and east of B740, 3 miles southwest of junction with A74. It was probably built in 16th century by Sir James Hamilton of Thanet, using material from Crawford John Castle. It was exchanged for the barony of Kilburny with James V in 1535. Hamilton was executed for treason in 1540, but the property returned to the Hamilton family. Nothing of the castle now remains, so I can't show you a picture of that. But the Crawford John branch split to many cadets. Reginald's great-grandson, also Reginald, acquired Loudon through the marriage to Margaret of Loudon. He became the first heritable sheriff of Ayr around 1196. Upon the death of the first sheriff in about 1245, his lands were divided, with Loudon passing to his son Hugh. Son John received the Ardoch estate near Kilmarnock, which he renamed Crawford Land. From those two families, particularly from the name and senior line, Crawford cadet lines prolificated. Excuse me. Loudon. Loudon is in Ayrshire, approximately 5 kilometers east of Kilmarnock, just east of village Galston, access from A719. Ruins of the old castle known as Arkloden, or the Old Place, are found about 1,000 yards away from the current castle. Only a few stones remain of what is likely to have been the original castle built by James Lambus around 1127. It was held by the senior line of the Crawford John branch from 1196, when Reginald Crawford married the Loudon heiress, Margaret, until the marriage of the Crawford heiress Suzanne to Duncan Campbell in 1318. Sir William Wallace lived here intermediately between the death of his father in 1291 and the Battle of Stirling Bridge in 1297. There is a location nearby where Wallace clashed with a 5-man English patrol while fishing in the River Irvine. Okay, here's the picture of that castle, Loudon Castle. Right there. It's still standing. Okay. Now we got, okay. Let's see. Okay, we got Crosby now. Crosby Castle, Ayrshire. Located about 1.5 miles northeast of West Kilbride, on minor roads north of B781, just south of Crosby Reservoir, west of Crosby Wood, across from the avenue. Okay, here's a picture of Crosby. Right there. Okay. Crosby is a 17th century tower house with a large 19th century mansion alongside. It was rewarded to Hugh Crawford, 2nd Sheriff of Ayrshire, for his contributions to defeat the Norse at the Battle of Largus in 1263. Crawford of Auchennames held the castle in later years. William Wallace was sheltered here in an earlier castle which had belonged to his uncle Sir Reginald Crawford. Okay, now our mottos are, our clan mottos or I will give you strength. I will give you safety through strength. God, show me the right. We got also, I wrote them down. Noted without dishonor. Well, let's see what else. Oh yeah, fight and comprehension and understanding. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. He shall shine unblemished. And I think, oh yeah, stand by leaning on God. Lift up your hearts. By patience, I break what is hard. Okay. And we also got, let's see. Christ is alive. Hitherto unconquered. I can do all things with God's help. All with the help of God, by faith and diligence. Consider the crows. Wait. God feeds the crows is the actual motto. But I looked it up, and it goes to the Bible, of course, and it says, consider the crows. They don't plant or harvest. They don't even have a storeroom or a barn, yet God feeds them. You are worth much more than birds. And you can find references to the crows, which are ravens. You can find references to them in Job 38:41, Psalms 147:9, Luke 12:24, 1 Kings 17:4-6, 2 Corinthians 1:3-6, 1 Kings 17:2-6. So, if y'all want to look them up or whatever. And I think, let's see what else. I think that might be all of the mottos. Yeah, that was all the mottos. But okay, we got where was I? Okay, we're going to Achanames. Crawford of Achanames, an ancient family in the Shire of Renfrew, a branch of Crawford of Loudon, as in Crawford's History of Renfrew. Now this is spelled Crawfurd. Okay. The family, who says the family carried, well, wait a minute, a branch of Crawford of Loudon, as in Crawford's History of Renfrew. Okay. The family carried argent, 2 spears, salter ways, I guess, that way, across, before 4 spots of ermine. But Balfour in his blazon says Crawford of Achanames carried gules, Gules, a fess ermine, surmounted of 2 lances in saltire argent. The reference does not mention of the argumentation's history. Okay, well, okay, that should be, okay, these are the Loudons. shield and all the blazons. We got these right here. And then the Crosby. The Crosby should be these right here. And the Ocanames, well, I think this is maybe, I don't know, Crosby Pt.2, I think, maybe. Them two. But anyway, the Ocanames estate, which is Ardnale, okay, Renfrewshire, located just southwest off Johnstone, about 2 miles east of Bridge of Ware, and 5 miles southwest of Kilbarkin. Okay, there had been a 14th century keep on this site, which was demolished by the end of the 18th century. Okay, the lands of Ocanames were given by Robert the Bruce to Reginald Crawford for services at Bannockburn. Ocanames is listed as the barony of Ocanames by few rights. Entry of land registry records. Okay. It was sold in 1903 by Hugh Ronald George Crawford. His last name is spelled Craufurd. Okay. He sold the lands in 1903, moved to Canada without any mail issue. So that was the end of our barony right there. But anyway, okay. It was sold in 1903 by Hugh Ronald George Crawford, considered the last Crawford chief. The accumulated lands of this Crawford estate included Archanames, Ardnale, Crosby, the manor place, lordship and barony of Third Part, Drummerling, Porton Cross, Overton and Manor Place, Overton and, okay, Course, or Curse, or, I think it's spelled Kerse now. Okay. Yonderfield, barony of Kilbride, dikes and other lands in Kilbride. County Course, okay, wait a minute. County of Ayr, Bailey of Cunningham. Historic sources identify this line as the chiefly line and affirm its exclusive rights to the use of all three undifferenced arms. Okay. Now we got, here is one of the pictures. I think this one is Ocanames, but here's the shield arms, and let's see. We also got these right here. These are the Ocanames too. So, okay. Now we got, let's see. Okay, we got Ocanames right here too, of the blazons and shields. And And these right here too, so. Okay, now we got Newfield. The site of the estate is Ayrshire, located 1 mile east of the town of Dundonald, just south of A759, exit B750 south. The house is presently on the land. The house presently on the land was built in 1732. Okay. This senior line was established from the Achanames cadet in the 1600s from Robert, the third son of Patrick of Achanames, and Jane of Crosby. Robert Crawford bought the Newfield Castle in 1783. It was sold in the 1800s. Descendants of this line have recently been identified. Okay, here is the castle right here. Maybe y'all can see it. Okay, and we also have, let's see, the Newfield shield, and that's the, what is that one? Burgh Hall shield. And then, let's see, we got Rester-Rig, Restalrig, okay, located in the city of Edinburgh, about 1 mile northeast of Holyrood Palace and Abbey. Okay, this line was established by the Achanames cadet in 1700s from Ronald III, surviving son of Patrick of Drumsbury, and Jane of Achanames. Okay, so then we got, let's see, Kilburney Castle. Ayrshire. Kilburney Place is located just south of A760 near intersection with B780 in the western part of the town of Kilburney. Okay, this is the side of the Kilburney Castle. Right there. That's the Kilburney Castle. Okay. Okay, when in about, this is talking about Kilburney, I think. Yeah. When in about 1196, the senior heir of Crawford John, Reginald Crawford, married the heiress of Loudon and was made the first heritable sheriff of Ayr, the Crawford John land passed to the junior line. In 1556, his descendants traded Crawford John for Kilburney, and this line became known as the Kilburney Cadet. The Kilburney Cadet prolificated, and several other cadets were established from it, including Jordan Hill, Cartsburn, Easter Greenock, Thornwood, and Crawford Spurn. Members of note include Sir Thomas Crawford, who served Mary Queen of Scots, was then secretary to Lord Darnley, her husband, and later served the young King James VI. The Crawfords continued to control the lands of Crawford John until 1528, when Lawrence Crawford, the grandson of Malcolm Crawford, exchanged Crawford John for the lands of Dumry, adjacent Clyde Bank, with James Hamilton of Finet. This exchange consolidated his holdings, there being more accessible from Kilburney, with which Malcolm had acquired in or before 1499, and where Lawrence had centered his operations. Descendants of this family also occupied the Cartsburg estate in Greenock during the 1600s and 1700s, Kilburny Place Castle, and Kilburny Kirk became the lasting legacies of this cadet. The Kilburny baronetcy. A baronetcy was established by Charles I on May 14, 1628, for John Crawford of Kilburny. Probably the most accurate account of the Kilburny baronetcy is that in the complete baronetage written by George Edward Cockney and subsequently edited and published in 1983. The baronetcy was not passed on since his heir was his daughter Margaret, who married Patrick Lindsay in 1664. It lay dormant from 1662 to 1765, when it was revived. Sometime between 1820 and 1825, the baronet changed his surname to Crawford Pollock, and the title again became dormant in 1885. Okay, the first to receive the title was John Crawford of Kilburny. Crawford Pt.2, it has in parentheses, eldest son of John Crawford of Kilburny, and his wife Mary, daughter of James Cunningham, 7th Earl of Glencairn. The creation is not the Great Seal Register. Creation is not in the Great Seal Register, nor in the Registrum Proceptorum, whatever. Neither is there a record of any grant or seizing of lands in Nova Scotia. Okay. He commanded a regiment of foot on behalf of the king during the Civil War, but lived in retirement during the Commonwealth. He was MP for Ayrshire, 1644. He was designated a knight from 1661 until his death. He married first Margaret, second daughter of Margaret, Baroness Balfour of Burleigh, by Robert Arnott. Afterwards, Burleigh, Lord Balfour of Burleigh, she died without issue. Secondly, he married Magdalena, widow of Sir Gideon Bailey of Lockian. They had 2 daughters, Anne and Margaret. John Crawford died in 1662 without heirs. Sorry, I had to take a little break. Okay, we're back to Kilburny, the baronet of Kilburny. It lay dormant until July 19th, 1765, when Hugh Crawford, spelled his first name spelled H-E-W, was made the second baronet. The well-known Thomas Crawford of Jordan Hill was the first baronet's uncle. Hugh was the great-great-great-grandson of Thomas. Hugh matriculated the quartered Crawford Berkeley arms of Jordan Hill and married Robina Pollock, producing 2 sons, Robert and Hugh. Sir Robert inherited his mother's estates and changed his name to Crawford Pollock of Kilburny, thereby vacating the title Crawford of Kilburny. When Robert died without heir, his brother's son became Hugh Crawford Pollock of Kilburny by outliving his father. He died in 1867, leaving a son, Hugh, who died in 1885, leaving the Crawford Pollock baronetcy vacant. A new Crawford of Kilburny baronetcy was established June 8, 1781, when Alexander Crawford of Newark a not too distant descendant of the senior line of Ockenames through the cadet of Purvick and Third Part, was made the first baronet of the existing line. Their line matriculated the Ockenames differenced arms found in Ockename. And this line continues to the present day with the 9th Crawford Baronet of Kilburny, Sir Robert. Okay, here's the Kilburny arms right there. Now, I'm actually doing this to have a record of my ancestry stuff. So, it's okay if y'all don't like it or watch it or anything, but I'm doing this for myself, really, and my family, if they want to look back on it. Okay, here's another Kilburny arms. Did I show that? I'm not sure. That, and here's another one right there. Okay. And then we got, let's see, Jordan Hill Castle at Jordan Hill. Jordan Hill is now the location of the campus of Strathclyde University. Jordan Hill House was built by Thomas Houston of Alexander Houston and Company in 1872. It was demolished in 1961. On the exact site was built the Jordan Hill College of Education's Crawford building. Okay, this is Jordan Hill was acquired by Lawrence Crawford of Kilburny in 1528, who donated the lands to Drummery Church. His son Thomas acquired the lands in 1562. Thomas was the 6th son of Lawrence, so not in line to inherit lands. He became a soldier and spent over a decade in the Scots Guard in France, where he became a military advisor to Mary, Queen of Scots. Thomas later became a trusted advisor of Mary's husband, Lord Darnley. After Darnley's murder, Thomas actively opposed the Queen's and served her son, James VI of Scotland. He is known for his victories against Mary's supporters. Most notably was the scaling of the walls of Dumbarton Castle in 1571. 2 years later, Thomas received the surrender of Edinburgh from her troops, effectively ending her reign. Okay, did I show you the last arms of Kilburny Crawford Pollock right there? And this is the Jordan Hill Castle right there. Okay, now we got the Jordan Hill arms, shields, blazons right there. Now we got Cartsburn. Okay, Cartsburn is in Renfrewshire and is called Cartsdyke, about 1 mile east of Greenock. It was 16th century house of Crawfords of Kilburny. Sir Patrick C. of Cartsdyke fought for Queen Mary at the Battle of Langside in 1568. Cartsburg Mansion was demolished to make way for the new Cartsburn School, also no longer standing. The Crawfords of Cartsburn was descended from Thomas Crawford, second son of Cornelius Crawford. It was initially included in the barony of Greenock, which had been acquired by the Crawfords of Kilburn through marriage to the heiress in the late 1400s. Cartsburn was inherited by a younger son of the Kilburn line. Sir John Crawford of Easter Greenock acquired the lands in 1657. In 1669, John Crawford's daughter Margaret, wife of Patrick Lindsay, conveyed the land to her cousin Thomas Crawford of Jordan Hill. It was inherited by his descendants until the death of the sixth laird, also Thomas. His aunt inherited, her descendants assumed and her descendants assumed the surname of Crawford under an entail. Okay, here's here is, let me show you. Okay, that was the Cartsburn Castle. I don't know if it has a picture, but this other one does. Okay. Another estate, Lauriston Castle, was acquired by the Cartsburn Cadet during the 19th century. It was sold to Reeds in 1902. It is a stately stone manor, now a historical site owned by the city of Edinburgh. The original stone castle was built in 1590 as the Tower House. It has lovely public gardens where historical enactments are presented. The rear of the castle and gardens overlook the Firth of Forth. The original tower has been remodeled and added into on several occasions. The most significant alteration was two-story Jacobean extension designed by William Byrne between 1824 and 1827. It has a basement of which the old part is vaulted and a hidden stairway leads to a spy hole. A ghost is reported to wander the castle. Okay, the site of the castle is located outside Edinburgh. It's situated on Crammon Road off Queensferry Road, near Davison, Maine, with 3 miles northwest of Edinburgh Castle. Okay, here's that castle, the one that's haunted. Okay. And now we got, we got this, or that castle. I cannot, I don't know which castle's which. That one, that one, but okay. Okay, then we got, let's see, Crawford's Burn. We are uncertain as to the location of Crawford's Burn. It may be Cartsburn, though there is a town of Crawford's Burn in North Ireland, northeast of Belfast, that could be the site associated with this blazon. In that case, it would be considered a cadet of Cartsburn. Okay, this is the cadets, shields and blazons of Cartsburn. And then we got Crawford Land. Crawford Land. It's Craufurdland. Okay. The site of the castle is in Ayrshire, about 2.5 miles northeast of Kilmarnock, on minor roads south of B7038 and west of A719, just north of Crawfordland Water. Okay. Crawfords have held the property from the 13th century. John Crawford of Crawfordland was killed at Flodden in 1513. There is a much altered 16th century tower house with altercations in the 17th, 18th, 19th centuries. It was restored in 1980s. The family, now housed in Crawford, has held the land since ancient times. And this is that's Crawford's Burn, and there's the castle, okay, of Crawfordland. That was the castle of Crawfordland. And these are the blazons and shields of Crawfordland. Okay. Almost done, I hope, because I'm getting, well, we still got our ways. This might be a two-part. Okay. We got Braidland. Located in Ayrshire, it was northwest of Dowry off A737, about 5 kilometers southeast of Crosby. Okay, according to George Crawford's manuscript, Lazarus Crawfordina, I have that book too, by the way, written around 1645, and the Crawfords of Braidland are descended from a son of Hugh, 3rd Sheriff of Ayr, grandson of Reginald, 1st Sheriff of Ayr, and 1st Crawford, Lord of Loudoun. This genealogy comes from the family's oral tradition as reported to him by James Crawford of Ardmillan. Okay, Ardmillan Castle, the site of Ardmillan, excuse me, about 2 miles south of Girvan on the Coast Road, A77, okay? Ardmillan Crawfords have registered arms since the 17th century when James Crawford of Braidland acquired the Ardmillan estate. Through this marriage to a Kennedy, it has been the property of Kennedy of Bargany since at least 1470. Mary Queen of Scots visited in 1563. The Ardmillan motto is Durum Patina Franco, which in Latin means enduring uncommon forbearance. Several representatives of this cadet have been identified and are meticulated armigers. The castle was an altered 16th century tower house with a large Georgian wing, restored by James Crawford, Lord of Ardmillan, in 1855. The castle was partially destroyed by fire in 1983 and demolished in 1990. Okay, Ardmillan Castle. Here's a picture of Ardmillan Castle in the 1990s. It is across the Firth of Clyde from the Isle of Arran, A-R-R-A-N. Today, only the grand steps remain. This is a picture of it in, what did they say, 1855, I think. Like that. And only the steps remain of it now. So that's right there. I would just love to go to Scotland, Britain, anywhere in Britain, you know, it's just amazing. And these are the arms right here. And then we got some on this side. Excuse me. Okay, we might take a little break right now. Okay.